The founding emperor of the Shu Han was a man who descended from Emperor Jing, once the emperor of the Han dynasty. Liu Bei followed his ancestors' footsteps by founding his own empire, and despite early failings due to lacking both the material resources and social status of his rivals, he overcame a number of setbacks to carve out his own realm. By leading a popular movement of disheartened Han loyalists, he fought to restore the dynasty by opposing Cao Cao, who controlled the figurehead Emperor Xian. He was a brilliant politician with a remarkable leadership style, inspired by Lao Tzu, and his state demonstrated Confucianism in appearance, but was mostly legalist in substance. Though he was able to respond to situations as an able strategist, he could not match with Cao Cao, and as a consequence, his dominion was restricted. Though his dream may have been broken by his rival, he did not yield, so in the end he could not be subjugated. His determination, tolerance, generosity, and treatment of elites assured he had the air of an emperor and the aura of a hero about him. His extraordinarily successful career for a soldier was aided by remarkably good fortune, but he was certainly a very courageous man from an age when defeats so frequently brought death. The basics of his survival relied on him changing allegiances whenever it suited him, as laying the foundations of his empire relied on him betraying his own kinsman Liu Zhang, who had asked for his help. Untrustworthy to his superiors and rivals, but clearly loyal to his subordinates, we can perceive a man who could inspire great loyalty and admiration, an ideal hero for this age of chaos. Liu Bei was born in Zhou Commandery in 161 as a claimed descendant of Emperor Jing from two possible family trees. Either way, his family line insisted lineage from the Han through the kings of Xiongnan short-lived fief in Zhou Commandery. His grandfather was a county magistrate, while his father also held office in the local administration, but many other Lius commonly undertook minor cadet roles as it was their heritage. Liu Bei, however, grew up in a poor family, having lost his father when he was young. Han law decreed that each generation of royals must divide their inheritance among all male children, and Liu Bei's was too far removed to receive any benefits. As such, he was not considered any different from normal people, so his mother had to maintain the family by selling straw sandals and mats. In the corner of their small property was a mulberry tree over 15 feet tall, shaped like an umbrella of a chariot. People who saw it from afar superstitiously took it as a sign of future fame and honour for Liu Bei, who agreed, but his uncle suggested that the youth would only bring his family to ruin. He was full of ambition from childhood, as he would play with the other children beneath the tree, often saying things like, "I must ride in this feather-covered emperor's chariot." His uncle thought the dreams were foolish, but a fortune teller once stated, "This family will certainly produce an estimable man." The administrator of Zhujiang, Liu Ji, was a famous man from Zhou Commandery who had just received a peaceful surrender from some barbarians, but then resigned due to illness. As one of the most distinguished scholars of the era, Liu Bei's mother sent her son to go and study under him at the university at Huayang, alongside other members of their clan. It's likely he was a member of the old text school that challenged the state orthodox new text school. Scholars who survived the burning of the books had rewritten the Confucian texts that were currently being used by the Han. It wasn't until one of the old homes of Confucius was renovated that ancient script text versions of the classics were discovered, which were viewed as more accurate portrayals. In reality, the burning of the books most likely did little more than burn a few copies of the translated Confucian texts conveniently held in the capital. Many other copies survived elsewhere and were available for translating into the new writing standard. One of Liu Bei's fellow students under Liu Ji was Liu Diran, whose father treated the 14-year-old Bei as his own son by providing financial assistance to his mother. His own wife wasn't happy about this. Each has his own family. How can you regularly keep doing this? This boy is in our clan, and he's an extraordinary person. The scholar-to-be Gao Yu and the future warlord Gong Sun San were also among Liu Bei's classmates, but he would go on to prefer his hunting and music to actually studying. Two great horse merchants, Zhang Xiping and Su Shuang, passed through Zhou Commandery, and they were already very wealthy from their recent sales of horses. They had riches of several thousands in gold, and when they first met Liu Bei they were struck by his appearance, already tall for his age, with long arms that extended past his knees, and ears so large he could see them. His personality further charmed them to the point that they gifted him loads of money and materials, so he saw even less point in studying. He dressed in fine clothing and associated himself with the braves, but would not manifest his anger or happiness in front of others, preferring to always present himself by just pleasantly smiling. For around 10 years, Liu Bei's charisma and wealth drew a large number of followers to him, and all the heroic youths from the area bonded with him. A very strong local man called Zhang Fei regarded the fugitive Guan Yu as his older brother around this time, as he was several years older than him. Guan had made his way to Zhou Commandery, and together they were known as the most talented fighters, so Liu Bei hung out with and fought with them, and they formed a tight friendship. Every province and commandery called for righteous men to defend the country when the Yellow Turban Rebellion broke out. As a Han servant, Liu Ji led imperial forces to attack Shangzhui at Zhulu, while Liu Bei became more politically aware of what was going on. He called for his own assembly to form a volunteer force to help suppress the rebellion, and rallied a group of his most loyal followers, which included Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, and his childhood friend Jianyong. Liu Bei led his militia to assist Zhu Jing, where his volunteers fought with distinction as they assisted the Han colonel to eliminate the Yellow Turbans. Zhu Jing had once relied on Gongsun Zan to free him from a siege after he fell into an ambush, and now Liu Bei and his brothers were here to help. Due to the outbreak of rebellions, Shang Chen also rose up in Qing province, so another Han army was marching towards them, passing through Pingyuan. The local Liu Ziping had heard of Liu Bei's reputation as a brave man, so recommended his talent to a Han official who accepted the extra assistance. When it came to fighting the rebels in the countryside, Liu Bei was gravely wounded, so had to fake his death. Then after the battle, one of his friends loaded him into a car and carried him away, so he just about escaped with his life. By now, Emperor Ling had begun appointing cavalry officers to serve as his messengers, but they abused their power by terrifying the regional officials to give them bribes. This resulted in the titles of all officials below the position of inspector being decided by the amount of gold that they could pay. Liu Bei's contributions in Qing were recognized, as he was appointed as a prefect over one of the counties in Zhongshan Commandery, but after the Yellow Turbans were suppressed, it was decreed that any officials who gained such positions as rewards would be dismissed. He doubted he would be among those selected, but when an inspector arrived, Liu Bei went to go and meet with him, but he refused, claiming to be sick. Liu Bei was furious, so stormed back to his headquarters to gather his clerks and soldiers, then led them back to the postal system offices. He forced entry through the door, claiming to have been secretly sent by the administrator to arrest the inspector, then tied him up and took him to the outskirts of the district. He undid his ribbon of office and tied it to the inspector's neck, and bound him to a tree and gave him more than 100 lashes with a bamboo stave. Liu Bei was trying to kill him, but the inspector begged for mercy, so he stopped. After this incident, Liu Bei left his office and travelled south. Alongside his followers, he made his way to Shu province, where he joined in with a militia of men from Danyang. The leftovers of a Yellow Turban army were currently nearby in Xiapi at this time, so Liu Bei's talented braves attacked them, fought hard and secured victory. His deeds were once more recognized by the Han, but this time they appointed him as the prefect over Gaotang County near Pingyuan. During the final years of Emperor Ling, Liu made his way to the capital, where he met with Cao Cao. Before the emperor fell ill, Liu Yan suggested that he greatly increases the political and military power of the provincial governors, so he selected his most able officers to serve in each area. Liu and Cao left Liu Yang around this time, then returned to the latter's ancestral home at Pei Commandery to gather many people. When Emperor Ling died, the land fell into chaos, as Dongzhuo manipulated the new emperor into doing his will, so Liu Bei raised an army to join in with the Guangdong coalition against him. No records of battles which include Liu Bei exist, but he eventually made his way back to Gaotang County. The coalition ultimately fell apart, as the provincial governors became warlords who vied for power, such as Yuan Shao, who gained a surge in fame after his recent appointment as the governor of Ji province. Gongsun Zan was worried many people would go and serve him instead, but Xiao Yun showed up with his volunteers, and so would Liu Bei, as by the time he got to Gaotang County, he found it was overwhelmed with crime. During his stay with Gongsun Zan, the young Dianye placed himself under Liu Bei's foster care and impressed him greatly. Xiao Yun also met Liu Bei around this time, and stayed very close to him, eventually deciding to switch allegiances to his side. After they scored several victories against Yuan Shao for control over the north, Gongsun Zan nominated Liu Bei to be the Chancellor of Pingyuan. Dian Kai was then sent to combat Yuan Tan in Qing province, so Xia Yun followed along with Liu Bei and served as his cavalry officer. Liu Bei fought in many battles with distinction, so was appointed probationary prefect of Pingyuan and later made its official chancellor. With his new title, Liu Bei appointed Guan Yu and Zhang Fei as majors of separate commands, each leading their own group of soldiers. Liu Bei cherished them as if they were his close brothers, to the point of sharing the same room, sleeping on the same mat, and eating from the same pot. At this time, Pingyuan was poor, so the people were starving and banded together to commit crimes. When Liu Bei walked through large crowds or sat down for long meetings, his brothers stood guard beside him. Guan Yu's kindness and fealty towards Liu Bei was like none other, but he had no respect for the upper class, so treated them without courtesy. Liu Bei shielded the people from the bandit types while carrying out generous economic measures, plus he allowed anyone to sit on the same mat and eat from the same pot as him and the elites. He felt no cause to be picky, so people attached themselves to him in droves. When Zhao Yun received news of his older brother's death, he asked for a temporary leave from service, but Liu Bei perceived that he would not ever see him again. He held his hand as they parted ways. Zhao Yun told him, "I will never forget your favour." Daishe Se arrived at Pingyuan to meet with Liu Bei. "I'm a commander from Donglai, neither a relative or acquaintance of Kong Rong. I've heard of him, and we not only share similar beliefs, but also experienced difficult times together. Guan Hai and the rebels have besieged him. He is in desperate need of help, and you are known for your kindness, righteousness, and willingness to help. He admires you and has placed his hope in you. Hence he sent me to fight my way out the siege to seek help from you. Only you can save him." Liu Bei's expression turned serious. So Kong Rong knows that Liu Bei exists in this world. He sent 3,000 fighting-age men to follow Daishe Se back, and when the rebels heard about the reinforcements, the siege was immediately lifted. Around this time, the famed scholar from Beihei, Zheng Xuan, recommended Sun Xian to serve under Liu Bei as an assistant officer, but one resident of Pingyuan was resentful and ashamed of Liu Bei, and did not like serving under him. He hired an assassin to kill him, but the oblivious Liu Bei didn't realize his true intentions, so treated him with great generosity, just as he would any other. In the end, the assassin couldn't bring himself to finish the job, and informed Liu Bei before he left. Such was the extent that Liu Bei could win the hearts of the people. Tensions between the warlords intensified, as two opposing forces emerged. Yuan Shu, Dao Xian, and Gongsun San allied against Yuan Shao, Cao Cao, and Liu Biao's rising prestige. In the face of strong pressure from Cao Cao, Dao Xian appealed to his neighbours for help, where Dian Kai and Liu Bei responded well. Several thousand militia were conscripted from Pingyuan, and Liu Bei led them to assist his colleague. Once assembled, he led over 5,000 soldiers mixed with Wuhuan cavalry to go into battle with his old friend Cao Cao. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.